Alexander Horton, what is Economy?
So Economy is an online education-based agency. We work with clients and partners to create short-form courses that are typically project-based. We also create accelerators for clients and partners, and we also help them develop and nurture online communities so that they can engage them through an education strategy.
How did that start? Like, where did the idea for Economy begin?
The idea for Economy began just after I finished my higher education experience. I felt that it wasn't as hands-on as I would have liked it to have been. I felt I didn't get as much practical experience as I would have liked to have been. I generally felt unprepared for the world of work. And the deeper I got into the world of work, the more I was kind of turning to solutions on like YouTube and blogs to kind of quickly upskill. And I found that on YouTube and blogs and such, online forums, there was a real kind of community atmosphere and vibe, and they really looked at kind of supporting each other. And I felt that, that approach to education was really kind of missing in our higher education system. So that's where it kind of was born from.
And from that initial realization, like, was it a gradual stepping stone, or was it a plunge into what were the next steps in your startup
Yeah,
journey?
it was very much gradual. So I've been working on Economy for the last 2.5, 3 years, but I only went full time on it 6 months ago. And that was largely kind of honing in on where I really wanted to kind of enter the market. I initially was like, oh, I'm going to create an online education platform. And I still have, a desire to create something like that. But what I kind of quickly realized over my startup journey was it's hard to go and do that from ground zero. It's better to kind of take your time and find insights along the journey. And so I had to, firstly, build a community and build a network of my own. I had to build my own kind of skill sets and understanding of education technology. Then I had to better understand the market and where online education solutions are currently at so that I could kind of find an entry point into the market, which is, what I began properly doing around 6 months ago.
Were there any like failures along the way, learnings that you could share with the audience?
Yeah, definitely. I think, one clear thing that was a recurrent theme early on was just the importance of open communication with people who you come across in the journey, both with kind of where you're at, what you're looking to try and achieve, and what you need to kind of like take that next step in your journey. I think a lot of the time people try and oversell themselves or even undersell themselves. And I think it's important just to completely own with where you're at in the journey. And I think you'll generally find people will gravitate to you a lot more in wanting to help you doing that. And I speak to that in terms of not only, potential clients and customers and early advocates, but also business partners. And I've currently got a business partner, and we speak very openly around our business, what we want to get out of it, what our values are within it, and that we would not be able to kind of be where we're at if we didn't have that openness of communication dialogue.
What we're doing at StartSpace is really trying to support one stage of the ecosystem, and there's so many supports out there for your journey. What has been valuable? What supports have you found vital?
Yeah, to be honest, the most valuable support I've found is finding communities, and communities that support you as an individual as opposed to as your business or your business idea. So I was fortunate enough to go to college whilst I was at university. My college supported me early on in my journey to test out online education solutions because they backed me as an individual. Then I was very fortunate enough to come across the Foundation for Young Australians, which was a community that kind of helped me identify as, someone going out there doing something, that was an okay thing to do. I had a lot of anxieties around starting my own business early on. Finding a community of other people doing the same thing not only normalized that for me, but gave me the confidence and also skill sets to, I guess, rise to that challenge I'd set for myself. And their program, the Young Social Pioneers program, was fantastic for equipping me with that confidence. And then lastly, I've become a relatively active member of the EduGrowth community, which is an education technology-based community. I was fortunate enough to be a program manager there, which kind of gave me the ins and outs and understanding of where educational technology is at, where it's going. And I began to kind of have conversations with thought leaders, both in Australia, but also globally, around what education technology can unlock in terms of remodeling our education industry. So, those three different communities have served different purposes along my journey, but I still actively nurture my relationships with all those communities because A, there's great people in all those communities, but B, they're communities that supported me as an individual. And so I want to be able to kind of give back to those communities to support other people in like they did me.
Yeah, great. Coming more to present times, could you maybe paint a picture of what work and life looks like during COVID-19 for you?
Yeah, sure. Obviously working from home, which has been a subtle adjustment, but not too bad. And we're also very fortunate being in the online education space that our industry has not been as disproportionately affected by the COVID situation. So we've actually seen an uptick in our operations. But what it has highlighted to me, now that I can't physically network with people and go to events and see people, and is the importance of putting strong, robust systems in place in order to kind of nurture your network, develop your network, and stay in communication with your network. So, basic tools like CRMs are actually highly affordable. There's free options in HubSpot. And, you're learning how to use those systems to kind of keep in touch with the people that are interested in what you're doing. I've realized is a really important kind of tool and mechanism to kind of have in place. And that was something that I hadn't properly explored pre-COVID.
And just finally, what are you looking forward to as society, as commerce, as businesses emerge from this period? Any big things that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen a lot of goodwill come out of this whole situation from the business community, in particular, kind of businesses more situated in the online space, by providing, free access to services and products and things like that. I think what I would really like to see that goodwill kind of trickle over once, I guess, a state of normalcy is reached, and really kind of foster more collaborative and giving attitudes in the world of business. I think obviously the world of business can be very cutthroat and harsh a lot of the time, and I think what this situation has illustrated to us is that it doesn't have to be this way. It's just that we often choose to be that way because it's what we've learned, and what we're taught to approach business and competition. I think a collaborative approach can put our societies and communities in far better positions to be resilient and responsive to kind of shocks like COVID. And I think I'd love to see that approach taken forward.
Thanks so much for that amazing thought. Just want to say thank you for your time, and we'll pop down some links for Econome so people can get in touch. Thanks for your time, Alex.
No worries. Thanks, Arm. Great to talk.